Alright everybody, time for the next Tacoma Q&A video. So today I will be answering 8 questions posted to me from viewers either on Tacoma World, Instagram, or directly right here on YouTube on one of my videos. So if you have questions you'd like me to answer in one of the future Q&A videos, go ahead and post them below and I might just read them here on the video. So let's get right into it. Okay, so before I get into the actual posted questions, I had a few people in recent videos ask if I ever get off-roading, so I would like to address that right now. Yes, I do get off-roading. Obviously not as much as I would like, but I mean, who does? My truck still is my daily driver, and I live in Northern Virginia, which has got to be one of the worst states as far as like local trails is concerned. The nearest trail to me is about an hour away, and it's very easy. You don't really even have to be in four-wheel drive most of the time. It's more like a nice scenic retreat than an actual trail. So I do plan on getting off-road more in the future, and I will do videos on that. So if you like the off-road videos, when I post the next one up, show your support, give it views, give it thumbs up, because I did one a few months ago and it didn't do too well. I mean, I got some views on it, but I have more views of videos I've posted this week than the one I have a few months ago from off-roading. So show your support, like the next video when it comes out. Alright, first question from Taco Tom, who asks, what's your take on front leveling kits? So, for those of you who don't know, leveling kit is pretty much what it sounds like. Usually, trucks in general, especially Tacomas, they have a rake where the rear of the truck is a little higher than the front of the truck. I guess they do this by design, so if you're carrying a load in the back, when the weight is pushing that down, then it will be level then. When you're talking about rake, people have different tastes. I kind of like it when the rear is a little higher than the front. Some people like the bro look, where the front's higher than the rear. And of course other people, I guess Taco Tom, I have to assume, likes it when it's perfectly level. So leveling kits are fine. Usually you're talking about, I mean, technically anything that raises the front so it's equal to the rear is a leveling kit. But usually when you're talking about that, it's usually like a spacer lift up front just to give it an inch or two to match the rear. So just be aware with any spacer lift. It might be an issue for you if you go off-road. If you're on the road most of the time, it's not going to be an issue, which, you know, most of us are on road 99% of the time anyway. So just be aware of that. But I mean, technically you could get, you know, aftermarket springs and shocks and just lift the front, and technically that would be a leveling kit also. So there's tons of stuff to look at on which one you want to go with. I definitely recommend checking out headstrongoffroad.com or wheelersoffroad.com. Both of them have some great stuff, great customer service. So hopefully that answered your question. Next question comes from Jamie Hastings, who says, have you considered putting a dash cam in your Tacoma? And my answer to that is abso-friggin-lutely. I'm sort of doing the research because ideally I'd like to get one mounted up front and in the back window, because for anyone not from Northern Virginia, we've got to have some of the worst drivers in the country. So it'd definitely be good to have a dash cam in the front and the back for, you know, insurance purposes, to negate any type of fraudulent claims and all that. So I have used my GoPro, which I'm using to record right now. I've used that before as a dash cam, but obviously it'd be more convenient to have a dedicated dash cam that records for you as soon as the truck's on, and you can save anytime there's some type of incident. Because when I've used my GoPro before, obviously it's all manual. I have to delete stuff, and it drains the battery pretty much. So with the wired-in dash cams, they're connected right to your truck. You don't have to worry about recharging and all of that. So I am looking for something. I'm not sure really which is the best brand to go with. So if any of you guys have a recommended brand you've either used before yourself, or you have heard good things about, read good reviews about, comment below, let me know what it is. And if the price is right, I will buy one and test it out and let you guys know what I think about that. Okay, next question is definitely a difficult one from Z7 Extreme, who says, could you tell us what has been your favorite mod so far outside of your actual lift? Because obviously that would probably be most people's choices, that or the tires, even though it's a lot of things at once. So this is it's super hard to say. Right now I'm probably going to say my V3 Triton switchback kit, which I will show you right now. So here are the V3 Triton switchbacks, which are daytime running lights most of the time, and then they turn amber when your hazards or your turn signals on, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to show up as bright on camera as they are in real life. Take a step back so you can see it's just a nice pure white. I believe they're 5500K for the temperature. They're LEDs. Had these for about 3 years now with zero issues, so they do last forever, it seems like. And they do come with the resistor built in to eliminate that hyper flashing you see with LED turn signals. So I love these things. I will put a link in the description where I got them. And I do plan on doing a follow-up video for these as well to really show them off. So this is just like a quick preliminary. Hopefully you can tell on the lighting that they look great. Let me take a step back real quick so hopefully you can see. I mean, here I am about 20 feet away, but you can see these things even during the day. They're great daytime running lights. Definitely recommend anyone pick up some of these. Got a feather in my grill there. I don't remember hitting any birds, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Okay, next question from AZ Tacoma. He says, armor, accessories, and tire weight adds up. Brake drums, rotors, pads, and shoes become very important. What are some of the performance differences of semi-metallic versus ceramic pads and shoes, and performance thoughts on front rotors, cross-drilled slotted bolt, or stock style for maximum friction surface? So there's a few things to talk about with this one. As far as the actual material, I know on all the performance, like say you take like the Z06 Corvettes, the ceramics are going to be they should be the top of the line. That's going to cost you a pretty penny though. As far as the actual rotor surface is concerned, I know you probably can't see it because my wheel's still on. I do have my EBC brake kit, which I will link in the description in case you're interested. I just have the slotted rotors. EBC and all the other brake companies, they usually have a wide variety of drilled, slotted, drilled and slotted, etc. So as far as the Tacoma is concerned, I've seen a lot of people who have like the fully set up rotors, like the drilled and slotted, say if they go off-road, they usually have a ton of junk get stuck in all those holes. So what all the holes are doing, it helps the brake cool down a lot. I mean, I'm not a brake expert, so don't take my word on it. You guys will be able to do a little research and figure this out. But you see all the performance cars, they have the drilled and slotted, etc. For that braking performance they need when the brakes get superheated, because constant braking at higher speeds, taking corners and all that. That's not so much of an issue with the Tacoma, and I would assume that as far as pure braking performance is concerned, the brake pads are going to be what you really want to upgrade. Like again with EBC, since that's what I went with, they have green stuff, yellow stuff, red stuff, etc. for the color of the pads, but as the colors, I think red stuff's the best if I remember correctly. But the actual pad material has a higher coefficient of friction versus some of like the green stuff's the lowest. So the higher that coefficient of friction, what it's going to translate to is more biting power for the brake pad. And usually when you're talking about that more biting power, that means they're going to wear away quicker because you're going to get more wear on them with the brake dust and all that stuff. So you just have to replace them sooner rather than later. As far as how quickly they wear away, I mean, at most it's probably going to be maybe change them once a year. So it's not really crazy, and just the brake pads, they're not super expensive anyway. So again, I will link what I got, the EBC slotted rotors, and I am just running the green stuff pads for now. And if I had to estimate, I'd say this is at least 15 to 20% more braking power than the stock. I am interested in looking in a rear brake upgrade for the Tacoma within a reasonable budget, because it does have drums back there, and I've seen people do like Tundra conversion kits or even caliper and rotor kits back there, but those usually run over $1,000, so I'm not sure I want to spend that much money on the rear brake upgrade. So have to think about that for a little while. And next question from That Red Yoda, rear wheel drive question. When airing down tires for off-road use in a rear wheel drive truck, his is a pre-runner, should I air down my front ones as well, or would that not be beneficial due to more rolling resistance? Also, what kind of leaf springs do you recommend, use, or like? Well, the leaf spring one's real quick, so I'll do that one first. I run the Old Man Emu Dakar leaf springs, which I love. They give me, I'm getting about 3.5 to 4 inches of lift out of mine. And I'm not running any extra weight in there, aside from, my rack and all that, but not crazy amount of weight. We're talking like 500 pounds. Some people have said that the cars run a little rough if you are not running that constant weight on there. I haven't found that to be the case for me. So I think they run great with whatever weight I have for my rack. This might be, if I had to guess, maybe like 150 pounds, so it's not that much. There's tons of different leaf packs out there. You just sort of have to look around and see what you want, how much lift you want first of all, if you're going to be carrying that extra weight, etc. So shop around for that. And also with the Dakars real quick, I think literally right after I purchased mine, they started selling what's called the standard duty and heavy duty Dakar packs, which you can also break down if you are or are not going to be carrying a lot of weight in there. So I would assume the standard duty, I think they both provide the same amount of lift, but the standard duty might be a little softer if you do not have 500+ pounds of weight back there, so something to consider. As far as the airing down the front tires in a rear-wheel drive Tacoma for extra grip off-road, I don't think that's really going to help you any, since the front tires aren't actively gripping anyway. You're just sort of pushing them. So like he said, that might just increase your rolling resistance a little bit more. You're not talking a crazy amount, but it might just, you know, rob you of that much traction because that's extra resistance you have to push through. Definitely air down the rear tires, which I would assume he's doing anyway, because that can definitely help you out a lot. And again, you might be surprised at how good some pre-runners can do if they have like the off-road package, if you have a rear-wheel drive with the locker. And of course, if you ever get stuck, you know, make sure you have a winch or a buddy who can pull you out. And the next question comes from Manny Moda. Do you think the ZR2 is built as strong and reliable as the Taco TRD? A lot of YouTube videos compare the two and bash the Taco. So first of all, I take YouTube review videos when they're comparing, you know, one or more vehicles together with a grain of salt. Probably most of the time, whoever's doing the review, especially if it's a larger channel, they're probably being paid to give more positive marks to one versus the other. Or, like he mentions, I've seen a lot of the Tacoma reviews. They'll bash the Tacoma on what I think are stupid things like technology, as far as like the interior convenience, like with Bluetooth connectivity and all that stuff. Personally, I believe if you're in the market for a Tacoma, Bluetooth connectivity and all that interior tech stuff, that's not your priority when shopping for your vehicle. You're probably looking for reliability and off-road capability. It's like if you're shopping for a Corvette, gas mileage and trunk space are probably not your biggest thing. So a lot of the review videos I've seen where the Tacoma does not come out on top, no matter what they're comparing it to, it's usually because they're comparing those types of things, which probably most Tacoma drivers don't care about, or don't care about as much. So just remember that anytime you're looking at review videos, someone's probably being paid to say whatever they're saying. As far as the ZR2 is concerned, first of all, there are tons of people, you know, whatever they're driving. Obviously, if you're watching this, you probably drive a Tacoma or want to get a Tacoma. People are funny with their cars and trucks because brand loyalty is usually huge. I'm not one of these people who will never admit that there are other great off-roading vehicles. I think Jeeps are great. The ZR2 looks great. As far as the reliability is concerned, well, you never know, because the ZR2 or the Colorado in general just came out, whereas the Tacoma's been proven for years and years and years. The ZR2, it's definitely good, and it's, you know, priced compared to the TRD Pro. I don't think, even if the ZR2 runs great forever, I don't think in the long run it's going to be as good as far as reliability is concerned as the comparable Tacoma. But, you know, you never know. Only time will tell. They just came out, so who knows. Also, the third-gen Tacomas were just released within the last couple years as well, so who knows. Maybe those won't last as long as the previous gen Tacomas. It's too early to tell, so who knows. Next question comes to us from Abner Camarena. I recently lifted my truck, 2.5-inch spacers in the front. I also got new wheels and tires, and he says he went from 265/65/17 all-terrain tires to 265/75 R17 all-terrain tires, and went from stock wheels to fuel wheels. He says, I know this might sound silly, but I obviously noticed a little bit of power loss, but nothing to worry about, and obviously the MPG difference. His question is, do you think it is possible to get back some of the same horsepower that I used to have in stock by getting a cold air intake and a Flowmaster exhaust? One thing you will notice as far as the Tacoma is concerned, and horsepower and torque performance modifications such as an intake, exhaust, headers, all that stuff, I mean, If you take it and dyno it before you do that stuff and dyno it after, you know, you might see 10, 15, 20 horsepower. Personally, I do not think that's going to be something you will actually feel, though, as far as what your truck had before you lifted it and all that. I didn't really feel much of a loss for mine because, I mean, the Tacoma's not a, you know, performance truck where the acceleration and speed was really considered during the, you know, the engineering phase. And also, I mean, if you really want horsepower and performance at acceleration, the good news is your options are easy. The bad news is it's an expensive option, and that's a supercharger, which I don't think they even make the TRD one anymore, but you can get Erd or Magnuson superchargers offering the same amount of power, which, if I remember correctly, it gives you about an extra 60 to 70 horsepower, which you should definitely feel. However, that's going to cost you $5,000-ish. Just buying the supercharger, and probably, I don't know, another $1,000 to get it installed. So that's quite an investment. Is it worth it? If you want that horsepower, sure, it's definitely worth it if you can afford it. I guess you could also do a V8 swap with, I've seen people do LS, you know, Chevy engine swap successfully. You could probably get one of the Tundra V8s in there also. Probably going to cost you about the same amount of money, though. Maybe you get a little more horsepower, though, so that might be an option as well. And the last question for this Q&A segment comes from Sam Scornanchi. I hope I said your name right. There's a lot of vowels there in the middle. Apologize if I messed it up. He says, I'm looking to do a leveling kit and 285s, but worried about vibrations. Any tips on a 2 to 3 inch lift and anything to look out for? So sadly, whether or not you're going to get vibrations after either lifting your truck or adding larger tires, it seems to depend on your specific Tacoma, because as with, you know, needing to do the cab mount shop for 285s, you can have two people get the same exact tire with the same exact lift. One might have to cut and the other won't. It's just one of those things. For the vibrations, obviously the more you lift, the greater the risk you're going to run at getting those. There are a few simple solutions, like the carrier bearing drop kit that just lines the drive shaft up a little better with the rear diff. I actually will be doing a video on that because I have a very slight vibration, and my full lift kit did come with that carrier bearing drop kit included, so I'm going to try that out, see if it helps. As far as the tires, I know there are specific tires that have a history of either being hard to balance, which will obviously give you some nasty vibrations, worse than driveline vibrations. Off the top of my head, the Goodyear Wrangler Duratrax, it seems like it depends on, you know, your specific batch of tires, whether or not they'll be able to be balanced. So just do your reviews wherever you're getting your tires, like Discount Tire, Tire Rack. Read all the reviews, and Amazon also. Read the negative reviews specifically, and just see how many people are complaining about the tires not being able to be properly balanced, because that's definitely going to give you some headaches down the road. And personally, I think if I read too many of those reviews, I'd probably just pass on whatever tire I'm looking at. Alright everybody, that is another Q&A segment in the books. If you do have questions for the future one, comment below, let me know what they are, and I might just get to them. These are a ton of fun to do, and I will continue doing them as long as you guys keep posting questions, so don't be shy. I might just read yours in the next video. If this is your first time stopping by, please consider subscribing if you enjoy Tacoma videos. Give the video a like, comment below, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I upload, which is twice a week, guaranteed. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.